Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to LEGO DC Supervillains. So we've gotten everything as far as the game is concerned, although the DLC added extra content, so we're going to see if we go above 100% if we just stay at 100%. I said in the last recording that when I got this achievement for changing a custom character's body piece 5 times that it was unlikely that people would really have done that, although there was a decent chance you would have done that just by doing the challenges and getting all the gold bricks, because you change the body piece I think 4 or 5 times that, well, 4 or maybe 3 times there already. But I was actually wrong, which according to Steam 51% of players or thereabout actually did get that achievement for changing a custom character's body piece 5 times, which is considerably higher than the 4.6% of players on Steam that reached 100%. Considerably higher. So maybe I just really am disconnected with the actual audience of somebody who would play this game. I don't think I'm that disconnected, because we still saw particularly low completion rates even when we were hitting like the achievement for beating the 3rd level. Somewhere around 30% of players only made it past this level, or somewhere about here. I'm just making up numbers mostly, but yeah, that's wonky. Certainly that they would have played with custom characters. If anything, it may just be more of a factor in that there was a lot more indecision in making a custom character at the very beginning of the game, which the game forces you to do, over, here's a long load, over what I did, which was to just grab a preset character and be done with it. And see, this is interesting in that you just have like more narrative as you get a flyby, and there's just a lot more polish on this DLC. And I guess every character you play as is either an underwater breather or has a gas mask added to their ability. Okay. So, as it is, we've got a silver character there that we have to blow up. And I'm just not going to fight the guy until I'm certain I've collected everything there is to collect on this platform. This is a bit of an odd experience in that you are jumping between different platforms. So what am I supposed to do? Like, you see there's a mini kit indication here. I'm just gonna win the fight if I'm not careful. I do see a shark flying around, so maybe I'm supposed to hit the shark.
Orm didn't like the ideas of very square. It'd take a little creative thinking past tactics.
And so the Aqua Lady created an air bubble. And there we lose our...
My usual attacks weren't working. Yeah, that seemed to work.
We lost our underwater masks. Am I supposed to jump in here? Like, I can't actually hit that. I can hit the wrong thing all I want. But you would have had to assume that maybe there's an awkward character that has like a cooldown. Maybe we're supposed to just wait for that to happen while we're looking here. Yeah. We can run around the arena and just see if there's something more we need to do. Yeah. Okay. So there's the mini kit. It just spouted out for no reason, no way. And I missed it. So it's either floating up that way. Like I can't collect it though. So I just had to hit it, which is not really what we have been doing up until this point in the game. Hitting mini kits has never led to actually collecting them. I would say the idea of a multi-narrative arena fight makes a little bit more sense. Works have, say, multiple phases with one more simplistic puzzle to solve that you don't have to question what the goal is as much, or potentially act on something else that doesn't actually lead towards that final goal. I'm just fairly slowly tapping the X button, and it's pretty much just a timed event, which I guess technically may not mean that it is actually a quick time event. Okay.
Some people.
Am I supposed to be hitting these octopuses or breaking rocks? Like I can kind of spam shooting things. There's just like a whole section over there, and I just don't know how we would reach that section, because if I recall correctly, you get into this point and you're just in this point, and this is the free play mode, so it's not like there's no way to
I had a feeling it would be one of those days.
leave. Now that's more of a quick time event. Yeah, you just can't jump in the water. You can't just swim to the top or anything like that. It looks like there might be a lot back there, but it probably is a lot of things further behind. And since we have demolition mode, I can just touch things and break them. And he's invulnerable. And now he's doing the triangle attack, which I don't think this triangle attack was particularly good, because it's just kind of difficult to avoid. And he becomes instantly invulnerable when he hits that again, so this is very structured phases, and that he's going to have this invulnerable attack. I don't think there's a way to bring it back on him and have him like hit himself or anything like that. I think you just, that is a pure dodge attack, which maybe in a kid's game you don't have just pure dodge attacks, and should have a way in which you would actually be able to do some damage, because you run the danger of a kid thinking that they're doing something wrong when they just dodge. That's funny, that picture was of the Joker, not
That's one sweet hug.
not Orem. We got a achievement there for doing the Power of Atlantis. Complete Ring of Fire after achieving True Villain status. So we hadn't gotten True Villain, but fairly obviously here we pretty much have to jump back into the level. We didn't find a graffiti, and we didn't find all the mini kits. Normally in a Lego level you would have a retry button so you don't have to reload the level, but they didn't bother to program that. So now we have to sit here and wait for it to load the overworld to then unload the overworld and load the level back. That was definitely a different type of level too. Let's just take our custom character this time. It's really only giving you 3 characters on top of whatever base characters it's giving you. I wonder if the trick isn't something as simple as just pressing the Y button and swapping.
Man, I'll give Orem this much. He sure knew how to draw a crowd.
I think it may very well be pressing the Y button and swapping characters to get all the other collectibles. I guess the camera kind of shows you that, but I've never seen in a Lego game that the solution to get to an entirely different area is to hit Y. That is crazy. That's exactly what it was. Just press Y. And then this takes you straight up into a whole different section of gameplay you just don't see. I have seen in Lego games in the past entire sections that really you cannot do anything with or reach. Entire sections you can't reach until you're in free play mode, but it is by far way more obvious in other Lego games when that is the case. I've never seen something this crazy. So she has like a water grapple or something. There's a lot of stuff going on around here.
I should be able to deal with this.
So we're pulling these switches, and that is making the statues raise their spears. Which, had I watched the Aquaman movie, maybe that would mean something.
Why?
As like they're voting by raising their spears in a positive or negative way. Okay, so we've got to clear this part to the right. And I don't know if we're supposed to move the fire from one place to the other or what. And that's like his whole throne we just broke. There's still a lot of stuff in this room as a throne room. It is pretty crazy to have a throne room and not even see it. So we've made a water cannon. And that breaks that wall. So we have yet another grapple point. Too many grapple points. I guess visually it's pleasing to have the same type of interface each time, but video game wise I think it would be more interesting to have different ways to activate it, different buttons, or a bigger puzzle solution. Okay, so there must be a like plant grow ability or something around this. We've got a lot of fish and we can't do anything with the fish. There's just kind of nothing else in this room. Let's... Okay. There's an investigation thing. I was not expecting that, particularly when you've crossed the threshold, where clearly, if you were going to have an investigation thing, it needed to potentially start near the throne in the center. I was just about to the point where I was going to have to give up. Although, I will say this game is fairly consistent that if you run into something you can't destroy, you are likely interacting with it, probably with a Green Lantern ability. If not a Green Lantern ability, some other
Perhaps another
Lego unique bespoke solution. There's too many of these Green Lantern interactions, even though in this case you are using whatever this character's name is. I want to say Marina, but I'm probably wrong about that. much like the problem with the Green Lantern Corps, in that the Green Lantern Corps is mostly not on Earth and not doing anything related to Earth most of the time. You have that same problem with the Aquaman characters too, is that they're in the ocean and, well, on the planet of Earth. They're not on solid ground on Earth. And undoubtedly, you also have to admit that a significant problem with Aquaman is that he was just made into a joke character by the Justice League cartoon, intentionally or not, and then that joke character just kept on propagating itself. And I would say probably a lot of the joke characteristics around Aquaman didn't just come from the cartoon, but also very plausibly came from the fandom of DC Comics in general. He was the character that people loved to hate. I know extremely little about Aquaman, and I think that's probably true for a lot of people who would claim themselves to be DC fans. Jason Momoa certainly helped Aquaman, but if anything, he just made Aquaman an interesting character to a female audience that otherwise has no interest or very little interest in DC or comics. Well, I bet there's some males out there that think Jason Momoa is good looking too. But him being a beefcake, we already got this one. Didn't lead to people really knowing his story. Like, I have no idea why the female queen would really like Aquaman at all. I don't know what the relationship is. It does, if anything, kind of feel like it might be almost a palace intrigue story, which probably doesn't work in comics. If Aquaman was, say, George II of England and the Queen at the time, and it was just some kind of political palace intrigue story, it probably wouldn't be too different. Although I have no idea. I just don't know. A big problem certainly is also the amount of poor, uninteresting enemies. If anything, it might be wise to just have Aquaman engage with every alien that tries to take over the planet first before they make it to land, since Earth is 80% water. But if he just had a first dibs. So you do that slow motion B attack. Are you supposed to do the B attack at any other point? Doesn't seem like it. I'm tapping B and nothing's happening. You're supposed to instead use the X, I think, to shoot. And nothing's really going to speed this whole process up. And I imagine you can't hit Y in this section. Yeah, I'm hitting Y and it's not doing anything. I guess I'm glad that there wasn't a challenge here to try and hit all of the electric eels, because that would have been annoying. Even after all that still wasn't.
I had a feeling it was gonna be one of those days.
Yeah, I would lead back to what I had said previously about Aquaman a long time ago now, that it weakening the level here, and we will. Probably would make a lot of sense to make Aquaman more like Indiana Jones. A lot of Atlantean outposts sunken to the bottom of the ocean, a lot of investigation, a lot of treasures, ancient technology, heck, even if you threw in ancient aliens that had like crashed to the bottom of the sea. But yeah, stay out of the water. Much like video games, water levels suck, and I think the same is probably true in comics. The water parts suck, so stay in bubbles under the ocean, investigate air-filled Atlantean outposts, things like that. It is probably incredibly boring if you had Aquaman chasing after polluters dumping oil in the ocean, even though that is a real-world problem, or having him chase after, say, whalers or fishers that are just overfishing the oceans. Let's move on to Orem Showdown. Hopefully this is a much quicker experience, because that was very slow. I was hoping to be done in this episode, and at this rate, that won't happen.
How's it going, small fries? Missed the breath.
This was a much more traditional feeling section.
Done. Especially Orem case. Freeing those fishermen would be a good place to start.
So yeah, you have these 7 characters, or 7 tribes, they're trying to unite, and they don't even mention these characters. Now this is a DLC level, so I can't really say, well, these characters should have been in the overworld, although in all fairness I kind of can say that, because I can take the logical leap to say the DLC should have been in the game in the first place, and if the DLC was in the game, then it would make a lot of sense to have the fish goons running around the ocean parts and water parts of the overworld. What are we looking for? 1 spray paint. I think we can do that fairly easily. Just have to find the points to spray paint.
Isn't for me.
Yeah. And almost certainly we're never going to see all the different spray paints that are in the game. There's just too many of them, too much variety. Who has super strength? Apparently nobody. This guy should have super strength. And yet, we're not getting that prompt. So let's just run around and kind of throw a fit while we think about what might be the problem. Apparently I just did need to run around in circles.
It looked like we made ourselves some new friends. Orem didn't seem too happy about it. Probably why he sent some buddies after us.
In all fairness, to my claim that it's better to not have water levels, this is a non-water level that is in a building under the water instead. And this one room at least is not as exciting as the arena we just did before. I think we just have to fight all these guys. Thank goodness I have super slap. We can't skip any of these cutscenes.
Things looking up. Just then, Orm managed to knock out the power. If we wanted to communicate King Nereus, we'd have to find a way to fix it. Fast.
It definitely doesn't feel like it would be more interesting to be outside fighting this guy. Although he is on this jet vehicle, so there would have been room for maybe a dogfight if they wanted to program in dogfighting. Although, if you did program in dogfighting, then I think you would have to find a lot of justifications to have dogfighting in the other levels. Dogfighting, by which I mean flying vehicles around, fighting each other. This is almost certainly a level where the only reason I couldn't solve it before is because I just played it in story mode and didn't have the character. I guess that's pretty obvious. Big wall of plants here to break. Perhaps a little too much, considering how sparse the rest of the level is, and generally how sparse everything is. Let's see if Toyman's toy can squeeze through here. It's a little monkey. This is a toy that they're making reference to that just does not really exist anymore. Like, unless you're into antique toy collecting, old mechanical toys that would be extremely sharp-edged and dangerous and probably covered in rust and tetanus, you would never see a monkey with symbols. As a toy, and I didn't see one when I was a kid, so we really are talking probably nearly 70 or 80 years was the last time it would have been reasonable to have a toy like that. Okay, who has a gun? Apparently nobody. Okay. Hit that. So, yeah, the point I was trying to make there, and I kind of stopped, is it appropriate for current generations of kids to have a monkey with symbols when no current generation of kids and most of their parents didn't have that toy? I mean, you really are just making a nostalgic reference to something that nobody has any nostalgia for. I guess I'm supposed to have a plant growing character, but that was definitely not obvious. Okay. So did we get everything? Yes. If I was to run down this tube and then go down this tube, it brings us into this room. And then I think we solve everything. In this room and end up on the surface of a boat fighting Orm. Yep. Tap B. Hit this so it spins. Or hit this so it spins. I think there's more to it first. Yeah, I think you had to get at least one fan going. Well, I guess what it was is that I probably had to reflect
managed to convince her dad to join with us. I think that was the last straw for Orm. Orm didn't seem to think too much of me winning our little popularity contest. It was time to teach him a lesson about being a king.
Now, if I spend a lot of energy to tap faster, I can get through this fight. This isn't the fight I thought we were going to have, though. Yeah, this was the fight I thought we were going to have on the surface of a boat. Which maybe this is from the movie, but kind of would make more sense to not be on the surface of a boat. And there's just no reason to do that fight, so let's just exit. So we should get True Supervillain this time, so that should unlock an achievement. That being said, I am fairly concerned here in the fact that according to Steam I have like 49 out of 75 achievements. So either there is a lot of achievements based around doing weird stuff, or some achievements didn't trigger. And if I can determine that some achievements didn't trigger, then I guess I'd be fine with that. That's an interesting thought. I wanted to bring up the achievements, but I didn't because these games are in full screen mode. That being said, theoretically, I might be able to bring up the Steam app on my cell phone and see what I can do with that. Let's see. Notifications. No, that won't do anything. The library would be in the library. Sort by recent. There we go. Game info and links. Guides, my game content, my achievements. Oh, yes. I've never done this before. So I just pull it up on my cell phone. Of course, I'm still just looking at cell phone at that point. Let's scroll down and see if we can figure out what we don't have. Okay. One achievement is Court of Owls. Have Owlman and Talon in a group. That's easy enough to do. Just have to spell. So
I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to.
Owlman, and then Talon. Of course, the problem with these achievements that worked is that there's just no way you would ever You'd never think of that or be able to do it. Glide for 60 seconds as Batman. Let's see if we can do that. So if we're going to glide in the hub, we first have to assume this is the hub. I don't know what else you would call this other than the hub. So let's fly to the top of Lex's building and see if we can start at a high spot. And see if we can get a general idea of how this would all go. Okay. A very wide arc in that direction, trying to go all the way to that direction, or in that direction, trying to go to that direction is probably better. 60 seconds seems like a lot. "60 seconds, here we go." I don't want to push any button or do anything. All I've done is hold the A button down, and we can see the game has decided to glitch. The only real problem here is I am going to have to decide to turn. We may have to fly in between the Ferris wheel and the balloon. And the only real problem we'd run into now is if we just all of a sudden fell out of the air or lost momentum. It doesn't seem like a full circle is going to happen, so it then would just be a half circle falling into the water. But what you can definitely tell with this is it's just not likely that you would do this ever. Even the gliding puzzles and challenges in the overworld are much easier solved by having other gliding characters or flying characters to do those puzzles. I did get that achievement, so there really isn't a reason to glide any further. It's also weird that it's time instead of distance. It would make a lot more sense for the challenge to have been glide over 100 meters or something like that. That was called Ticket to Glide. Have the Riddler and Two-Face together in a party inside the Batcave. Okay, we happened to look out there, and we are close to the Batcave. I guess the easiest way still to get to the Batcave, though, would be to swing around this general direction. I guess two's a party by the definition of these achievements. It's very believable you'd have the Joker as a character in the Batcave. It's highly unlikely, though, you would have both the Joker and Two-Face, or that you would even be playing as Two-Face very often, since he is just not that useful of a character. goes ST and then S again. So it doesn't count the as starting with T. Which a lot of times they do count the word the as starting with T, although in fairness you probably shouldn't. Right. Have the Riddler in Two-Face, not the Joker in Two-Face. There we go. Egg on your face. Take a selfie with Shang Tsung as any character while both in the same frame. Let's try that. I think that's what it's saying to do. Shang Tsung being the egg character. Where is he? There he is. I may actually have to take a picture, delete a picture to get into photo mode. Nope, I can't take a picture of Shang Tsung using Shang Tsung. So you would just never really figure that out. And I think that's a bad decision to have any characters that can't do photo mode. Take a selfie of Batman while playing as the Joker. Let's choose the Joker, the animated series. Noticeably, it doesn't matter if you actually have any film. That didn't work, it seems. So we'll just play as the main game Joker. That did work. Activate dance mode and make 5 characters dance. I have no idea how to do that. There's also perform a grab on an enemy and charge into 5 other enemies. I have no idea how I would do that. There is also 19 hidden achievements. Of course, on Steam, to figure out what the hidden achievements are, you would just look at the overall global achievement statistics, and yeah, some of these numbers are extremely low. Vast majority of people haven't done them. And it's a weird situation where you have to look for icons that are grayed out, but actually on the Steam Android app the icons aren't grayed out. Okay, I can tell one of these would be to play as this character and this character, and maybe even take a screenshot selfie. Nope, that didn't work. And then there's one called the Swine of Steel, but there's no pig character. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to get most of these achievements without having an achievement guide in front of me, which means stop wasting time trying to do it. Let's instead focus in on what we can actually do and jump into the next level. Sorry for that distraction. But yep. definitely seems like I'll have to figure out how to get to an achievement guide from this point.
What's up?
It should be doable.
Glad little undercover operation exposed. Things were about to get messy.
Let's see. Achievement guides. Okay. Start playing. I pulled up an achievement guide. But I would particularly have to swap between the achievement guides and the achievement I have left to finish to play it properly. Now when I press Y here, can't fly all the way up there. So if I was to grab somebody, I'd have to be a specific character. Yeah. So I would have to I'd have to have multiple people. And I don't even know if this is actually considered a charge. It does seem like the game is designed in that way, so that you could grab people and charge.
Wrapped up magic by a snake thing. Somebody had to help her out fast.
Okay. What did we not get? I already collected that. Might be worth it to fly up and just make sure there isn't something somewhere else. By the time we did these DLC levels, there was already quite a lot of things that were already collected, just because we had a lot of abilities.
As long as it hasn't had curses on it or anything.
Who has a water ability? Just doesn't kind of seem like we have the right character to put out all these flames. So since there's a big fire snake there is assumption that the Young Justice version of the Martian also is affected by fire and weak to fire. As one of the things they do fairly consistently is that if they make a kid version of an already existing character, they very often have the exact same weaknesses and very similar powers, which
right.
It's kind of lazy.
Miss Marshall was free. But the team needs to do something to the brain sheet if they want to teach a lesson.
But it also, I guess, makes a lot of sense that if one character was weak to fire and the other one was not weak to fire, then you'd have to have two villains whenever you're creating a new villain. Boy, does it seem like you should just be able to walk back and forth from that area. Okay. Here we've got a thing to face. I guess Lobo has a thing for dolphins. Either that or it's just a very confusing running gag that's only in this game. I see 2 collectibles on this level. We need 3. It makes me assume the third one is up here. Who are we shooting at this point? I don't think I'm ready to do that. I think you're supposed to go up here first and potentially find a surprise object. Although I don't see anything up there. And you have this whole slide. That's somewhat fancy. Ah, the other collectible is actually in this corner. All in these soda cans. Or this direction. You have this red eggs blocking your way. And see, this is the Joker. He's the one that would collect those pieces. Ah, there's the third piece. Do this cauldron puzzle. Make some Joker toxin. And that's going to get him crazy. To open the door. Now, we have one more mini kit to collect. And it's way over there on the corner. It's weird that that respawned. Because the cauldron... Let's do it again. Either that's just a weird decision or glitch, or there is a reason why you can get more toxin and put more in that room. Yeah, it just feels like it's glitched. And you know, I could probably excuse a little glitch like that to just let you do the kind of default thing you would expect twice. If the rest of the game that wasn't DLC was glitch free.
Brain shield out of the way. It was that kids time to shine.
Still doesn't open up this pathway. I don't think that there's a way I can just like get him to shoot at me. He kind of stops shooting at me. This is a much more interesting way to use a speedster's ability instead of just going into that same Speed Force gimmick. It's just not really that interesting to do the Speed Force gimmick over and over again throughout the rest of the game. And again, I'm just clicking the X very slowly here. I could have mashed the button a lot faster if I wanted to.
That'll show him. You know, I'm more the
Black Beetle versus Blue Beetle.
But I'll tell you plenty of both. Black Beetle. Man, tell he didn't like things were going his way.
And it's interesting, we have a press the Y button choice.
Let's do this already.
We've got to go over there. So let's just finish this fight quickly.
Then Mr. Insect decided to take a hike. Smart idea. Meanwhile, things around this so-called summit just got crazier and crazier.
We're playing as Beast Boy, charging up a charging attack. And they're working very hard to just introduce as many new characters as possible.
And I'd love me good old-fashioned family drama.
For some weird reason, I was able to transform into this character, and I'm not really being allowed to transform into any other character. Which I find that weird. So I guess the solution is to probably switch to this character. Yeah, he's like stun locking me or something. When I turn into Raven. You know what? I'll just turn into a custom character this way. Then we'll come out through that section already as a custom character. So nothing should be able to stop me from doing that. Now, at this point, we have everything, but let's just see the fight all the way through. There's too many characters in this level. I kind of like the idea of 3 or 4 different arenas, particularly when you have this kind of intermission section in the middle where you're where you're doing some puzzle solving. But I think I would definitely have preferred half as many characters and 2 separate levels around the Young Justice characters instead of one overly large cast of characters. I think that is probably in line with the problem with the Justice League in general, is that there's just too many characters.
Big guy. Feels like 6 years. What happens next?
That's probably a reference to how long it takes to make movies. Unless that's a reference to something that actually happened in the comics for Young Justice. I know some comic books have been delayed fairly long, but 6 years is way too long. I believe any comic has been delayed that long. After 2 years, you pretty much have to assume that the story was finished, even if it wasn't done in a good way, and then they renewed a sequel. So the fight just ends there. We did get an achievement for just completing the level with all mini kits unlocked. Looks like we are going to hit 20 billion studs. I guess if you were going to fight a bunch of people, you're probably looking for the very first level. If you have to grab one guy and hit 5 other guys with a battering ram. Even in that, I don't know if the first level would really be the best choice. It does just make a lot more sense to use a walkthrough, use a achievement guide for all of that. So that leaves the next episode here with this challenge, this level, and this level. And you can't even see the achievements in the game. There's no interface. That is a problem I find that is consistent with pretty much all games nowadays, is that they have subseded the idea of achievements just to a user interface, whether it's the Steam overlay user interface or the Xbox or PlayStation overlay. I don't think Nintendo Switch has one. We are still at 100% after we've done more stuff, so that's fairly obvious that 100% is the maximum. You could probably fight a few people if you went this way and grabbed the guy. It would... Let's see. If I did... See, you can't like grab a civilian, so I'd have to find a bad guy in the first place. So maybe it would make some sense to fast travel to Amusement Mile and perhaps turn off Super Slap and turn off Demolition Mode. That will keep you from killing people too quickly. But generally, yeah, you would expect this is the Joker's lair, or the closest thing to the Joker's lair. You'd expect there to be bad guys around here, and there are absolutely none. You just have a civilian there. And that's it. Like, I can't even grab these characters. What I could do, potentially, is see if I could get the police after me. So, like, just punch a car, punch a civilian. Or just beat on the civilian until the police decide to show up. Alright, so we do this, and then there was the achievement. So, as a speedster, can you outrun the police? They should still be chasing me. They should still be chasing me. So let's just stand here on the corner and see if police will come by. Yes, they will. I guess you can just do nothing and let them punch on you. And once they break you, you lose your 3-star danger. Police don't take you to prison or anything, which would have been perhaps annoying if they did do that. Yeah, still 23 mini kits to collect and 3 graffiti things to do, and I guess that would be 7 more gold bricks overall to collect. That's going to be it for this recording. In between this recording and the next, I will get all the achievements, and then I'll talk about what it took to get the achievements. A lot of it, I almost certainly, is just going to come down to finding a party of 2 different kinds of characters and maybe taking selfies with them. The selfie aspect there is new, but in the past there definitely have been achievements where you do similar things, just have 2 people that kind of make some sense or work towards some kind of pun. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me further, there's a bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.